All eyes on Venezuela this week. The State Department issuing a level 4 do not travel advisory on the narco state, warning against, quote, high risk of wrongful detention, torture in detention, terrorism, kidnapping, arbitrary enforcement of local laws, crime, civil unrest, and poor health infrastructure. The advisory comes as the U.S. looks to crack down on the narco terrorists. Democrats are saying it's just all made up, but maybe they should listen to the former leader of their party.
Let's go after the drug lords where they live, with an international strike force. There must be no safe haven for these narco terrorists, and they must know it.
Joining me now, former CIA analyst and co-host of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton show, Buck Sexton. Buck, great to have you, as always. I love how President Trump baits the left. He takes great action, great policy, and baits the left into defending criminals, illegal immigrants, and now narco terrorists.
Well, I think we're seeing finally action taken, not only to deal with the fact that the importation of these incredibly lethal fentanyl drug loads in the United States have been going on for years, for decades now, and the narco boats are getting blown up, as we know, and Secretary of War Hegseth is point man on making sure that policy is implemented. But also, we need to start thinking about Venezuela as a narco state run by a cartel boss, because that is the case. Maduro has a $50 million bounty on his capture. So this is somebody who is directly not just profiting from, but perpetuating the drug war that continues to cause so much mayhem on American streets. So, Kayleigh, this is a problem that has been going on for a long time that we have not been dealing with at all, whether it comes to foreign policy or successfully with a domestic policy approach. And Trump is changing the game. Cutting off these narco boats means that cartel boss Maduro is under more pressure than he's been in a long time, certainly since he decided that the election results about 18 months ago just don't count in Venezuela. So Trump is solving problems where others just mentioned them. You had Biden there. Others just mentioned them in the past.
Yes, and I want to play Rachel Maddow. She seems to be calling for a land invasion. Listen to this.
Why isn't it possible to just interdict them the way that we do with the Coast Guard, where you go and take the drugs and then put those people on trial and investigate and then follow the drugs to their source of origin and then take care of it there?
I mean, is she beating the war drums there?
Well, I think that there is the possibility, and Trump has made this very clear, that we could see some form of strikes on narco infrastructure inside of Venezuela, because these are designated the same way that other international terrorist entities have been designated. And as we know, during the Obama administration, he was the drone warrior. He was the guy who was using drones, using his presidential authority more than any other president to do lethal strikes in Pakistan, in places like the Northwest Frontier Province, the Fatah, the federally administered tribal area, places that very few people could find on a map, and we weren't actually at war in Pakistan. So these kinds of designations using presidential authority are well established. And Tren de Aragua, which is now started out as a prison gang, is now an international narco cartel, has been duly designated by the President of the United States, and he's taking the fight to them. So if we want things to change, we have to actually take meaningful action. And President Trump, I think, is doing that. That could mean strikes against that narco infrastructure. It could mean raids even to grab narco kingpins. We'll see where the administration goes next, Kayleigh, but they're not letting this problem go.
Yeah, and let me talk to you about something I'm not letting go. Normally you're on here with Clay. Clay is absent today. I don't know where in the world is Clay, but we put this poster together for him.
Sports.
Where is Clay Travis? Well, I have a theory. Okay, sports. But, Buck, I have a theory. I told him next time he comes on, I'm going to unleash a picture of him drinking a female rosé at the Patriot Awards. Jesse Waters' team has asked me for that picture. Ooh. I said, nope, I'm holding it for the next time Clay's on here. I think he doesn't want that picture out.
Look, the man enjoys a nicely chilled rosé. We've even had discussions on our radio show about how perhaps when he comes to visit Miami Beach next, there could be some frosé in his future. Frozen rosé for those who are uninitiated in some of these fancier ways. So there is that. I will tell you, I was out with Clay and Jesse Travis. Clay Travis and Jesse Kelly once, another radio host. And Jesse Kelly ordered $70 tequila shots at a hotel we were at. Now, he claims to not know that they were $70 each, but I'm just going to tell you, some of these radio guys, they're quite fancy in their taste for booze, and Clay is going to have to explain to the masses how he became a rosé guy in between SEC football and drinking beer out of Solo cups. I don't know what happened.
Everyone thinks Clay Travis is at a football game right now, like with an IPA. I bet he's on a beach somewhere with that chilled frosé. But we'll find out. Where is Clay? Thank you so much, Buck.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.